Hey guys, I don't even know if I'm streaming, but I'm gonna check real quick. It's Bob from Bob's World, and I was gonna do a video on this, and it's like way overdue. This video slash I thought it'd be easier to stream it. Of how did I go from the DJI Air Mavic 2 to the Avata to where I am today, and why the hell am I flying nowadays? These damn tiny whoops. I'm gonna share all of that in this live stream. Let me just make sure that I am actually live. So just give me a second here. Looks like I am live. What is these damn tiny whoops? Okay, good. So I'm live. I'll watch the chat. If anyone gets on here, let me move that over there. Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. I used to fly the. I've been flying drones for years. I've always been fascinated by drones, for whatever reason. In fact, my prediction, I tell my kids all the time, drives them nuts, that in the future, not too far off, drones will be flying all through the sky, and I want to see that before I croak. But I started with the DJI Air Mavic 2, and it was awesome, cinematic. You know, safe to fly, easy to fly, a lot of distance, great video quality, and I loved it. And then I saw that Avata come out, and I thought, you know, I should try this whole FPV thing. I always thought it was cool, never had done it before, and the Avata seemed like a good way to get into FPV, right? So I got the Avata, as some of you know who watch my channel, and probably subbed because of my Avata videos, and flew the hell out of that thing for a couple of years, pushing the envelope of what the Avata could do. And, you know, to the point I was doing gates with it, you know, doing stuff with it really wasn't meant for. And I had a ton of fun with that Avata. Now, I'll tell you what I didn't like about I'm not putting DJI down or their products, because they're amazing, right? But what I didn't like, I'm older, right? So I think back to the days of, let me just make sure this is still going here. Ton of fun with that Avata. Now, I'll tell you, yeah, so it reminds me of the days of Dell, the Dell Computer Company. And I had a Dell computer, right? And so, you know, they make these computers, but they're proprietary computers. So if there's something wrong with it, you had to buy Dell stuff to put in it. You know, you couldn't like buy third-party GPUs to put in it. And I didn't like that. I felt so what's the word I'm thinking of? I just felt so restricted on what I could do with it as far as being creative. So same for DJI. Like I got an email. I just saw that they got a new thing, a little selfie drone flies. It looks cool as hell. And I had a split-second urge I wanted to get it. But the issue is, what I was running into with the Avata is you could only use their gear, you know, their goggles, their controller, their this, you know, and it's really locked in, and it's not cheap, right? And if you break it, you got to send it off. You know, I had the refresh plan on, which is great. So there was like the stuff is great. It's fun to fly, works great. But then you're stuck in it. You can't do anything with it. I didn't like that, right? And I wanted to push my, I guess, FPV boundaries too. I was safe with the Avata. Everyone was safe. It was good to go. Turn it on, easy peasy. And I thought, you know, let me start dabbling into we'll call it the real FPV world, where you have the freedom to pick and choose and build drones and you know, use different motors and video, and all of that was foreign to me and very intimidating. Like, where do you even start, right? So like the rest of you probably, you go on, you watch the videos, Bardwell and, you know, these other guys, Nick Burns, you know, I start watching all these videos. I'd be up late at night, and obviously had some awesome people on Discord that I've run into that have really been helpful. But there was a steep learning curve. And I started out, I got the tiny trainer. Let me find, where's the tiny trainer hiding at? Where's the tiny trainer at? It just shows you. Hold on, guys. It just shows you. Guys, it just shows you. It was in a drawer. Now the tiny trainer from 533 right here, this thing right here, this is a sub 250 beast right here, 3.5 inch ripper. This is you know, they do gate racing. Those guys are crazy. 533 is their sight. Fly, I think it's Fly 533, but this is a freaking monster. Okay. Again, sub 250, 3.5 inch, has the O3 camera on board, so I could use the goggles too with it. Fun to fly, scary as hell. This thing rips. So I got this, and this was a ton of fun too, right? It has been, but it's been in the drawer, and I'm gonna tell you kind of why here in a second. Let me put this back over here on my my little FPV work. You gotta have a little FPV workstation when you get into real drones, right? Let me just make sure my stream's still going, guys. This, and this was a ton of fun too, right? All right. So then I always run into this limitation with bigger drones, like the 3.5 inch, even the Avata. You know, people are saying, hey, why don't you get a 5 inch, man? You need to get a 5 inch drone. You'll get some more, build some more 5 inch, 3.5 inch, whatever. And the problem I run into, and maybe it's because I'm older and weird, I don't know. It's like, you know, I'm really conscious of other people around when I'm flying the drone, which I don't think is a bad thing. Especially like the 3.5 inch with no guards on it. You know, this thing screams. You know, even the Avata was loud. So if I'd go out to fly, if there's people, I wouldn't fly it. Right? I just wouldn't fly it. You know, couldn't really fly it in town. You know, so you got to drive out to the country. You know, if there's people there, I wouldn't fly it. Then if there wasn't, I'd fly it. But, you know, as soon as someone pulled up, I was like, damn, you know, I'll take it. Because I was really worried. Like, I didn't want to bother people with the noise. You know, I didn't want to run into anything or anybody. So I always felt limited by that. Okay? And this is going to transition into... It's going to transition into these mothers right here. Why in the hell would I be flying? Basically, all I'm flying are these tinywhoops. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to show you first, before I get into that, so what do I fly with? So I left DJI basically altogether, right? Because I want the freedom that this other gear provides you. Listen, I can't get this camera right. There it goes. So this is a Radio Master Boxer Max. I'm just telling you, if you're flying with a cheap controller, probably one of the best investments I made was this thing. The gimbals on this thing, man, are like butter. And going from the controller 2 to this was insane. You know, I adjusted these, made them, fine-tuned them how I wanted them. You can adjust, you know, all of the movement on it, how the tension. Again, learning curve to learn all this shit on here. I was like scared to death. But, you know, over time it comes. But, okay, first off, so I'm flying with this, and I love it. The next big investment I had to do, because, again, the Goggles 2, the Goggles 3 from DJI, you're not flying other drones with those. Unless they've got the O3 system on board, or I don't know if there's an O4 camera now. Can't even keep up with it. You know, you can fly them if that camera system, that VTX is on board, but still, I always feel limited by that. So then, I bought these HD0 goggles straight out of frickin' Star Wars, and they weren't cheap. These things were expensive. But I'll tell you right from the get-go, fit better on my head than the Goggles 2. The clarity inside, everything, for me, these goggles are better than what I had with the Goggles 2 from DJI. I don't know anything about the Goggles 3, how those are. Sounds like they're pretty good. But what I love about these goggles, man, is I got full control over these babies, right? as far as the setup. I mean, everything as far as what I fly on it. You know, if I do different systems, you know, I'll talk about this, but you can put a module on the side here. This is a Wi-Fi one, but you can put different ones on here. But this is Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi. What the fuck? It's analog. It's just analog on the side here. And I'll talk about all of this, but you know, basically pimping out the antennas, learning about all this stuff, learning how this works, ton of fun. And I to be honest, bought these, and I got some friends, you know, in the FP world saying, God, you got some better cameras, Bob. Fly these goggles with some great cameras, and maybe one day I will. So the reason I bought this analog adapter, and I didn't go with the other one. There was another one that everyone uses, the Surefire, or whatever the hell it is. It's twice the price of the Speedy Bee Wi-Fi, or why do I say Wi-Fi? Analog module. I bought the pack, came with the antennas on it already, or I put them on. And I watched a bunch of videos on this one. Half the price, does a good enough job for what I do. So I'm happy so far. I've flown with it, and I'm digging it. So, and why in the world, again, am I flying these little 65 millimeter tinywhoops? And I'll tell you, hold on, I'll tell you the reason. Let me just make sure I'm still streaming, guys. Not that it matters. And why am I still flying why am I flying these tinywhoops? Why have I become obsessed with these? And it goes back to what I told you. What I love, absolutely love about these 65 millimeter drones, I'm sure it's the same for 75, but I've been flying the 65. It has opened a world of where I can fly with drones. And Greg, who a friend of mine in town, you guys probably seen the videos. I got him into FPV. He's addicted like I am. He loves flying these too, and he's braver than I am. But we go anywhere to fly these. The backyard, the school, you know, downtown, at the park, whatever. We don't care if there's people around, because here's the cool thing about these tinywhoops. One, super safe. I mean, I've hit myself on the face with this thing. You don't feel nothing. The other, super quiet. Like, unless you really were looking, you wouldn't even know it was there. That's how quiet these are. And the other is they're kind of cool, and I'll use the word cute. So when we're flying these around, people are like, oh, what's that? You know, they want to talk to you about it. Does it have a camera? You don't get the same response, my experience, when you're flying these bigger drones. They're louder, they're screaming. It seems like people are more turned off by those because the noise and whatever. Not with the tinywhoops. I have flown these things in, again, spots all around town I would have never flown before. And the only reason is I know I'm not going to damage anything. I'm not going to offend anybody. Any of that. And you know, are you going to get 4K footage out of this and make a movie? Well, you could probably make some kind of fun retro looking video, but no, you're not going to be making 4K. This one here's got the Eco at 720, pretty good quality, not the greatest, good enough. And then here's a custom build. I took the other day the Hummingbird V3 off the original frame, and I moved it over to the Eco frame, used the Eco mount for the camera, but all the guts from the Hummingbird, and I'm pretty happy the way this turned out. And so this is analog. The quality sucks on the video, but it doesn't matter, because the reality is you fly these babies for fun. This is pure fun factor. And when it comes to having fun flying drones, so far for me, and the convenience of flying it anywhere without worrying, you know, this is it. Does it? Can you freestyle this? Yeah. There's videos out there. I mean, I do my best, you know, for what it's worth. But you can power loop, and you can spin, dip, flip, whatever. You know, I mean, you have to factor in the fact there is less power at especially the bottom end. But once you get used to it, you know that's there, and you just adjust your flying based on that. Short flight times, you know, 2 minutes, 3 if you're lucky. So you have a bunch of batteries. But here's the other thing I love about these is they're super cheap. They're super cheap. They're easy to fix. You know, dudes, I was afraid of doing any kind of soldering, soldering, any of that stuff. But I eventually learned. I'm not the best at it, but, like this one, I soldered on a new pigtail the other day. Is it hard? Yeah, you got to be patient, totally. But so you can fix these yourselves, unlike, again, these other, like DJI, you got to send it off. It's expensive. This, a frame's like $4. Camera's like 15, 20 bucks. Board maybe 30 to 50 bucks. Props are cheap. Motors are about 10 bucks a pop. So you can start piecing these together and have a lot of fun making your own custom builds, like I kind of been doing. And then you can pimp them out with colors and LEDs. Let me get a battery for the. I want to show you. I love this one here. Hold on. So one thing I loved about the cockroach, or not the cockroach, the hummingbird, is one, it's affordable, it's cheap, 80-something bucks, fun to fly. But the one thing I love about it is right here. Check out them LEDs that are built in, and you can program them. Right now, I've got red and blue like a police car, but I just love it. Nighttime when you're flying your buddies, everybody's got their LEDs going. Ton of fun. So I thought it was way overdue. If you watch the recording, you have any questions, this is how I got to this point. To be honest, I have no desire at this point to get like a 5-inch or a bigger drone, because I love the convenience of this. I sit in the backyard, I go in the house, I go in the garage, zip around, get my FPV fix. There's enough control that I feel like I'm on track when I fly this. And even when it's a little windy outside, you can fly these in the wind. I fly mine outside. I'm in the Midwest, so I fly mine all the time outside, even in the wind. You just have to compensate for it. Again, the video quality pretty much sucks, but I'm not making movies. I'm just doing this for fun. And the video quality is good enough where you can see kind of what's going on. And I kind of dig the whole retro vibe, almost like old VHS tapes or something. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I wanted to share. I think it was way overdue to say, how did I get from the Avata to where I'm at now? Why did I do that? And I think I covered anything. If you have any questions, post them below. I'm going to continue flying with these babies. I love them, and they look freaking epic. I'm going to continue to build these tinywhoops. I'm going to, keep going with it. I am going to race this winter. There's a group I've joined up here in Fargo, North Dakota, and I'm going to go race. I'm going to try to get Greg to go, and we're going to go race. They do indoor races through the winter, tiny races. And I tell you the last thing before I go, Greg and I, he knows more people than I do, but I'd love to get like a tiny whoop event in our hometown here. Don't know if there'd be enough interest, but we'll see how it goes. At a minimum, we want to try to get into like the brewery here, go fly through the brewery or something. We're working on it. So stay tuned. So appreciate the subs and likes, guys. I know the channel deviated from the original Avata stuff, but it is what it is. So if you like just watching our adventures, especially Greg and I have been flying together, you like tiny whoops, you might be in the right place. Cheers, peace, guys. Have an awesome weekend. I'm going to go try out, I'll post some analog videos flying this new modified Hummingbird V3 and share my thoughts on that. Cheers, peace, guys. Again, thanks for